Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 9th. Oh man, I might not look terrible to you, but I look at myself right now and I'm like, oh, I look as terrible as I feel today. It's just daylight savings time really sucks. Wake up an hour early. Ugh, I hate it. Hey, let's go to the charts here. Minimize that. So yesterday, S&P 500, it went okay, but it didn't really, it was pretty lackluster yesterday. Like, we expected a little bit of activity on the open, and we got it, and it died off really, really quickly. So, it played out the way that we expected yesterday. It was just, like, way more extreme than we thought. Same kind of over here in the Treasury. But they did end up moving a little bit down overnight. Now, today we got PPI and we got a 10-year auction. So I'm thinking if the PPI is in line or at least not crazy, that and maybe we could get some more bubble up moves here because of the auction, because the 10-year auctions have been strong as of late. But we'll see. This is going to be a day where you really want to watch the order flow, right? Because they'd be putting on all their hedge trades and stuff in the treasuries. Oil's still in a range. Like, most of these markets are pretty, natural gas still cooling off. Gold a little bit above where it was yesterday, but holding its gains is good. Copper maybe a little bit of an uptrend forming here, maybe. And let's do the Bitcoins first, because the Bitcoin is just looking super strong right now. Not to 70K yet, but I'm sure it's only a hop away. They're all super excited about it. The crypto people just won't shut up. But we'll see how they're feeling at the end of the month, huh? And the dollar still kind of clinging on to that 94. So that's where we're at. So let's pull up here. Oh, I don't even have the window up. Economic releases. We are looking at core PPI month over month estimated spot 5 versus a previous reading of spot 2, with the regular PPI being a spot 6 versus a previous reading of spot 5. So remember that last time around, there was a big divergence between the two of them, right? Core was not as high as the other one, and that was because a lot of the increase was from energy prices. But now they're saying that the increase is going to come from other places. So it's not necessarily a good number, but I think we're pretty likely to come right in there at spot 5. I mean, if we came out above expectation on PPI, that would really be something else. So that's kind of what we're looking at. You don't look terrible, but you appear a bit flustered. You know what? I still haven't set the robot back up. I really should, but I just don't care right now. I really want to get, the thing is I feel like I kind of got the data that I wanted from it. It performs okay, but not up to my standards. And I would really like to apply some machine learning to it. Somebody mentioning, oh, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, somebody posted my link in the Jigsaw Discord. Our video yesterday doing quite well. In fact, let's go see, because a lot of you guys in Europe and everything, and you watch it overnight. Let's see if you get comments on it. No, Taylor Jones is spamming. Yeah. Oh, yes. I used James Floyd Wilson signals. Yeah, it's spam. Report spam. What else we got? Ooh, they asked the book map question. Good question from Delta Lam there on their video. Yeah, if you leave a comment, that really helps out. So that was the thing is, oh man, yesterday I was like, oh yeah, it's doing okay, it's doing good. We got like 100 views, and that's like a good good stop, you know. And but then it was like, oh, I'm not getting any comments, but it was really just I needed to refresh the page, and then I saw all of the comments. And when I saw all the comments, I was like, oh man, because with the number of comments that we got, and I mean, I know it seems like it's not a lot, but like 4 or 5 comments, that's what leads to a video really picking up in the algorithm. So let's see if I can show you here. We can look at how it's doing. 278 views in the first 48 hours. That's really good. In fact, that may be the best I've ever done. That may be the best I've ever done. You think I should upload it as a premiere? I don't know. I'm not convinced that the premiere makes a big difference, but it does allow us to forward. So the thing with the premiere is that I've found that the video does best if we release it at right when the market opens. But to do the premiere, we would want to have it like as the stream ends, you know? So I don't know what we do with that. But no matter, I posted it on Reddit, I posted it on Facebook, and a couple of people pasted it around for me, which I really appreciate. I mean, it was the content that you guys want, right? So I probably shouldn't call it my magnum opus per se, but now how about Reddit? Well, it says 75% upvoted, so that's okay. It's really hard to get stuff to take off in the day trading subreddit. I don't understand. I really think that a lot of the stuff that takes off in the day trading subreddit is boosted. I really do. Oh, you know what? I wasn't even paying attention. PPI, well, core PPI actually came in a little bit above expectations, so Seth needs to pay attention here. I think we could get a pretty good move up here because now it's going to be the auction. Premieres tend to bring in new viewers? Okay. I'll have to look at it. I like we did the premiere one time, but I don't think it really changed anything. Okay, we're okay. I didn't really miss anything. So now that the PPI has seemed to been a dud, I shouldn't call it a dud, but it was in line with expectations. I think that, and the 10-year in particular, that the dynamics of the auction start to come into play, and those tend to be bullish for Treasury prices. Anything going on today on the news? Well, I don't know if we got anything else. So there's a couple of things we could talk about. First of all, remember I was saying, there was going to be a significant law enforcement action, and I was interested to know what that was. Do you guys remember when that food processing plant got hacked, and we were all concerned about, food supply issues and stuff? Well, they caught the hackers. So that was good. That was, some of the things that I maybe suspected it would be is not at all. As I was saying, it's the Treasury, so maybe it's a finance-related thing that's related to us, but not really. It was finance-related because they paid the hackers, right? So there was that yesterday, I think I should point out. But you know what the big news was yesterday was the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Did you see that, man? Oh, man. So when I see something like what happened in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial yesterday, I would expect to see all of the conservatives talking about it on the internet, wanting to discuss it, being like, I told you so, and so on and so forth, right? And the left just completely trying to ignore it, right? And I do see some instances of the left. One of the things that's really bothered me is I've seen a lot of headlines where they literally lie about what the guy said. There was an NPR story, and they were claiming that the guy had his hands up, and this is so misleading. That is not what happened. He put his hands up, and then when he turned away, then he went for his gun and was going to shoot him. Okay, so NPR, what the hell, right? But the thing that's striking about this story is one of the pictures of the trial lawyer just going, ugh, is at the top of r/pics on Reddit, and everybody's talking about it. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, this should not have gone to trial. Conservatives are going to have a field day with this. Well, it is. I think it is going to be a little interesting how it sorts out, because before I knew that he was going to be innocent. I mean, anybody with two eyes, we have all, there's the thing. There's nothing being released at this trial that we didn't already know. Anybody that watched the videos, we already know all of this stuff, right? So we knew that it was kind of going to turn out this way. But the thing that's striking about it now is that it's not just like he's going to be found innocent. It's like it's going to get thrown out. This was a politically motivated prosecution, all of these sorts of things. And I think that some people on the left are kind of looking at what happened and are really regretting it, right? Because it is going to harm them politically, I think. If it at the point at which it becomes a political issue that you guys pushed this super aggressive prosecution against somebody that was innocent and you knew he was innocent, right? That's, yeah. And not only that, but the way it's playing out is so drastically in his favor that this guy is going to become a hero for the right now. I think some people on the left are really regretting the way that they played the story when it originally came out. Yeah, the reaction video. I won't show you guys here on stream because I don't know if that will. I don't know. We could go grab the picture, but I just don't care enough right now. Okay, so I'm just noticing, by the way, that the liquidity in the 10-year is a little light. And then do they arrest the guy who pulled his gun first? I don't know. Well, there's really good question why they aren't prosecuting the other guy that was trying to shoot at Kyle, because he was not legally allowed to have a gun. He didn't have his permit expired, and he was like, his record was such that he shouldn't own a gun. Yeah. So a bunch of people are like, well, why this and not that? And you know what's funny is the way that themes will just kind of organically pop up. I mean, I think it's because we as people, we just kind of latch on to the connections. But there's the other story that's been going around was that Project Veritas was given a journal purported to be by Joe Biden's daughter, I believe it was, that they don't know if it was that she left it or if it was stolen when she was like in a rehab center. And so they were given the journal and they couldn't verify its authenticity, so they didn't do anything. And they basically turned it in. And then somebody else ended up publishing the results, somebody that wasn't as scrupulous, right? So now, like a year later, the FBI is coming along and raiding Project Veritas's homes over this journal. And it's like, what? Number one, what justifies raiding their homes over it? Why is it so important now? And number two, why is the FBI involved over a journal? And so everybody says it's politically motivated, that Joe Biden is using the FBI to go after them, right? And so it just kind of goes along with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, that they're using the prosecutor to go after this guy for political reasons. And I think it's a real thing, and I think it's something that we need to face in our society, that there have been people in positions of power that have been punishing some people and not punishing other people with the law for political reasons, right? Well, the Treasury is chopping around quite a bit there at 19.5. The 30-year is up on its highs. They're kind of dragging the 5-year along here. The liquidity in the 10-year is still quite light. I have not used the client portal to do an ACH transfer yet. Should I try doing it? Have you had problems with it? Oh, wow. Bitfinex, here's what happens when a cryptofluencer starts asking questions about Tether. He ran a poll where 60% of the responses out of tens of thousands of votes said yes, Tether is a problem. He then deleted the tweets. Okay, I'll go and try it myself today. So this all reminds me of my adventures in TikTok land yesterday. So whenever I get somebody on TikTok, you can just tell from their. I should admit to doing this, but sometimes you can just tell that somebody on your that's commenting on your video is a troll and will comment a lot if you prod them. So I caught one yesterday. He commented on one of my videos, so I made like 2 videos responding to him. And yeah, it helped boost the videos. And the thing that he was arguing was that 420 Bitcoin was an insignificant amount to the price, because the market cap of Bitcoin is so high. So I tried to tell him, like, the market cap doesn't mean a darn thing, right? It's all about liquidity and price impact. And individual orders have a much more significant impact on prices than people realize. Oh my gosh. So like I had to go through this whole thing that was like, okay, so like here's what the resting book is. Here's how much money it would take to buy up all of that liquidity and get it to a certain price. And this is what the market cap would be. The change in market cap is not equal to the amount that you bought there. You can't use market cap to make this kind of a calculation. And then I showed him the real formula for calculating market impact, and he just completely he refuses to accept that that's actually like a real empirical model with research backing it up. It was so like his responses were kind of funny, and I don't think that people were buying him. Oh, look at that. Yep, easy call. And I think that this could Wow, I have not seen the Treasury move quite like that before. That is something else. What a move. Wow. But you know what this could be though. But part of it here is that there is a Treasury auction today, right? And there is still difficulty. Nah, I haven't seen any news. Anyways, they're still having trouble getting these treasuries, and especially the ones that they need for repo, right? That's still a thing. That's still a thing. What do you mean market cap does not equal perfect liquidity? Okay, well, okay. So there's a couple of ways that we can go about this. The first thing is that what we want to know is if I buy X amount of a thing, what impact will that have on the price? Especially if it's like a really big amount and I do it over the course of a day, right? What impact will that have on the price? So you use the formula behind me. Y times the volatility times the square root of Q over V. Y being a constant different for every asset, and which has been calculated in Bitcoin to be 0.9. Oh, what do you mean? Market cap does not equal perfect liquidity. Oh, I get you. You were joking. Yeah, no, like that's the funny thing is like think about, okay, if market cap means that there's stronger liquidity and that it's harder to move an asset because it has a high market cap, how do you explain Tesla moving 5% a day on a regular basis? How do you explain that, right? It's because the market cap doesn't mean anything. It's a great way to compare the size of relative investments, but in terms of your execution impact, it has zero impact. Maybe there's a correlation between the amount of resting liquidity and the market cap of a asset, but it would be a pretty tenuous relationship at best, right? I just thought the whole thing was really funny though. Okay, we need to come back over here and look at some of yesterday's levels here in the 10-year. Okay, point of control yesterday was 25. Oh no, that was from Friday, was 25. I'm wondering if they're going to go for the high, if they're going to go to 30.5. Anyways, you got the formula. Now, with the one of the things I'm learning is that there's a little bit of flexibility based on the situation about whether what you use for volatility and what you use for the volume and stuff. Especially in Bitcoin, because like in Bitcoin, it's like, yeah, you can go and you can say, what is the volume on that specific exchange? But then a lot of that volume is wash trading. And then there's like other exchanges. So do you use like the wash trading adjusted amount for the whole market? So I did that and I used standard deviation. I probably shouldn't have used standard deviation. I probably should have just used average range. Probably should have used average range. That would have given me a higher number, probably around 1,000 price impact. But I think you could make the argument that Tesla doesn't deserve its market cap and is basically an anomaly that breaks that rule of thumb. Well, yeah, I guess the point is that the market cap doesn't have a direct effect on price impact, right? There's nothing about the market cap in and of itself. Because what actually controls the price impact? It's the resting liquidity. You can have something that is like really crazy high valued, but if nobody's putting liquidity out on there and you execute a meta order against it, you're going to have a big impact on it. Just like what's happening here in the 10-year, where they were only putting 2,000 contracts out on there at first, and so it just turned into a total zoo there for a second. I really cannot remember the last time I saw the Treasury gap up 2 ticks at a time twice in a row, just like that. That was pretty bonkers. It's kind of exciting, right? Because I mean, I didn't go into it a whole lot, but we 100% called it. We said, well, if PPI is not too crazy, then the Treasury auction dynamics come into play. And then on top of that, we could have noted that the liquidity was light. So when that came in, whoosh, sure enough. See, if you can predict future order flows and you can look at the conditions, every once in a while they will give you a trade that is just stupid simple. I think it's a little bit late now. But frankly, I probably should have added. When that happened, we were back at 1.48. Probably could have added another contract. Have you been around that long, Dave? I remember when it was like 100 too. Like when I first started the channel and I posted it on Futures.io, and in the first day or so there was 100 subscribers to the channel, I was like, what the crap? What the what? And I think that we got up to something like 300, 500 just from posting videos. And then there was that first cryptocurrency stream, and that got us to 1,000. I am short rates right now. You can see I went short rates at 1.489. Yeah, I've heard it explained that if you built a great company that is valued at 0, that doesn't mean it's worth 0. The market is merely a reflection of sentiment, not worth. Yeah. Well, see, that's why I think. Oh, you've been on the Patreon the whole time. Wow, thank you very much, Dave. I haven't been posting on the Patreon probably as regularly as I should, but there's sometimes I'm realizing that with the cryptocurrency, the Buffett indicator for cryptocurrencies, it's super valuable, but it's also pretty high time frame, right? So it doesn't necessarily justify a daily update. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that, but yeah. So the thing, Keller, is that what we have to share with the world about price impact is something that the Western world doesn't want to hear, because it says a lot of things about how financial markets work that directly contradict deeply held beliefs, right? Because one of a deeply held belief that many people have is that the market is efficient and that the market always gets it right. And when we get into price impact, all of a sudden you realize, oh, the market is not very informationally efficient at all. And it can be very wrong, and it can be very wrong for long periods of time. That it's like strikes at the heart of like the entire worldview, right? Now, I think that you can kind of recover, you know, the worldview and make the case that, capitalism is still good. Because capital is the most free system, and that's why it generates the most productivity, is because of freedom. Freedom leads to productivity. That's what I think. And I think that what we have is the most free and the most fair system yet devised, but surely it's not very efficient. So we could make a system that is more efficient. But I strongly suspect that you don't actually want an efficient system. I actually think that if the markets were perfectly efficient, that people would lose interest in it. I could be wrong, but there would be less volatility. It would be really boring. I don't think that people would be involved in markets. I don't think that it would be the growth generating engine that it is if it was efficient. It's kind of a beautiful thing, isn't it? That the productivity and growth comes out of the chaos of it. But yeah, they can be wrong about something for a really long time. Why is our productivity going into the toilet in a free market society? Well, a lot of the charts that you see about worker productivity and stuff are a little bit skewed. So we're still quite productive, but to have a really strong productivity increase like we've seen in past, we would have to have another significant innovation. Thank you, YouTube Finance. I'm really, I really wish that I had put more on it. I don't know why I didn't. It would have been totally justified. Okay, so Feds Bullard is speaking. Okay, so we've got the Red Book coming out here. That's usually a non-event, though. I think that Brannigan is correct. Global central banks all turning dovish on near-term outlook for any rate hikes over the next 12 months. Real rates are collapsing hard. This is a green light for gold and silver, and Bitcoin and Ethereum to rally into year-end trade accordingly. It keeps going. Dave K, I think that's why you always hear the economy is doing great during bad times. It's like, yeah, the corporations are making plenty of money, but how it gets distributed is another question. Well, I guess the point that I should be making is this. Our perceptions of how well the economy is doing are really easy to manipulate, right? And it's very often been the case, I have seen, that the times at which we, the public, are the most concerned about the economy are the times when we shouldn't be, It's like when the growth is happening, everybody is kind of soured on it, and then they miss it. I'm in the med device industry. I have 5 skilled labor jobs open now, and I've only found 1 qualified person after 3 months. I've never seen it this bad in my 6 years of leadership, or is it 7? Yeah, well, that's everybody. That's what everybody's saying. Yeah. You know what though? I think it's got to be. Oh man, the labor supply shortage is a really interesting subject too. Like, this is something that we're gonna. This is something that we're gonna be studying for decades, right? Now, I hate it when it's like it comes back like 1-2 ticks in the 10-year, and the micros come back 5. Okay. I'm still eyeing like 31, 30 half. Yeah. It might be one of the places that they shoot for. I don't know. Could be random, but in this particular case, I think that 30 half might be a good target. I mean, if inflation is chilling out and the whole inflation is transitory argument really wins out, then you really do have a good case to make that interest rates are going to remain low for a long time, because we're going to come back into the deflationary environment, which could be really good for stocks in the economy in some ways. The fixed income market tells the truth. Well, not always, right? Not always. So we have definitely seen some situations where the interest rate market was like way off kilter, right? I think in this case, though, I think you're getting a combination right now, right? You're getting a combination of a fundamental and a short-term liquidity issue going on in the Treasury, and that's what's leading to such a strong move. Is it a labor supply shortage or a labor willingness to work shortage? Well, I think that there's just like so many different problems. It's like, I think it's difficult for any one person to even like wrap their head around. So one thing that I've been seeing a lot, and I think that I've even experienced this some myself, is that there will be qualified applicants and they'll apply, but the resume filters reject them. It's so like, it seems to me that the HR departments have been having an issue with correctly utilizing the tools that they've been given. And before, it wasn't really a huge problem, but when you get into this point where you really need to fill the positions, right, you're not going to get like the perfect candidate. And so when these HR people come in and they put a filter on there that says, okay, we want to hire for an entry-level position and they need 6 years worth of experience, like, yeah, you're not going to get anybody. But that's what they're doing. I see that and people on TikTok complain about that a lot. And I've seen it on jobs. There's been jobs where I applied and I'm like, I'm probably the only person in this state that's qualified for that job, and I don't get called. And I do everything that I can to like tailor my resume to that job. Yeah, it's and I can only, in my opinion, just on that one, like, you're hiring somebody for algorithmic trading, like, and I got filtered out. There's something wrong with your process, right? You see all candidates and tell HRs which ones. So you are interviewing them and they really just aren't qualified, huh? Well, there probably is, especially in the healthcare industry. I could certainly see that is hard, right? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's problems all over the place. So like that one's a problem, especially in the tech industry, I think. But then there also seems to be a problem that there are a lot of people that didn't really have to work before anyways, and they just wanted the extra money, and they're saying, it's not worth it. I think there's a lot of that going on. I remember seeing a statistic saying that women left the workforce the most. So it's like this whole thing that part of what was making our workforce, was bringing wages down and stuff was the number of women that they were able to get to participate in the economy. And if they're now realizing that they don't really have to get jobs and they're probably better off not getting jobs, that's kind of a problem for an economy that was based on that women were working. You know what I mean? When people don't know the definition of integrity, it's hard to justify hiring them. Can YouTube really become a place people buy things? Oh, 100% it would be. Is YouTube talking about doing that? YouTube could become a place where anything happens. Okay, so now I'm kind of seeing a little bit of spread action come in. Like the 10-year is come back a little bit, but the 30 is still staying up there. And so it's keeping our rates in the 10-year yields low as a result. Like I said, 30 was the high on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised if we surpass that. What else has there been on the supply issues? I don't know, man. There's just like I really think that we come into a lot of these issues with the pandemic, and we want to find like what's that one reason that we're having a problem with this. Oh, well, we paid people not to work. That's what the problem is. But I really think that this is a case where it's a really exceptionally complicated issue that will really require some significant research and study and number crunching to identify all of the different factors and how much they contributed to the actual supply shortage. And then as a result, how that supply shortage affected other industries and prices of things. I think tech can be quite a stressful job if you have pressing deadlines. Yeah, there are certain industries in development, video game development probably being the worst offender, where crunching is a thing. And I really don't think that crunching works in software, man. Like everywhere that I've done it, it's always been you have to do it right or you don't do it, And the whole idea of crunching and just kind of doing the best that you can with the time that you have is like really crazy to me. What do you think of Aaron? I haven't read too much about that. I just think that whether you get vaccinated or not should be a personal decision, and that the government and society should stop trying to coerce people into doing it. And I haven't followed that story too closely. I'm sure that, like here's the thing. Lots of people that had the vaccine are getting sick. Like hospital rooms are still really full right now, right? Even though like COVID cases have declined, the hospitals are still full. Explain that one. Are the Bitcoins moving here? Because I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter talk about it. Nah, it hasn't made a move this morning. I can see, well, I'm surprised that gold has not moved much despite the move that we just had there in Treasuries. It also looks like the Treasuries did have enough of a hole at 26.5. I mean, that was 28,000 contracts. That's a lot. That they're going to take a break here. So I kind of have a decision to make, because I think there's a really good chance that we could get another push, another section to this meta order around around the time that the E-mini opens. But I would probably, I could try and get out at 20. I'll just put it there just in case. I could try and get out at 20 and then get back in a little lower. Already, well, yeah, there's been a lot of pharmaceutical developments. I don't know. It just kind of irks me. It's like I really don't. The data, I think, doesn't. We were given this idea, or at least I mean, I'm not saying everybody believed this or anything, but I think that there was this idea pushed that if we get everybody vaccinated, that will end the pandemic, and that was false. Okay, the Delta wave proved that to be false. And now we have all of these other solutions that I think could make a big difference. A pill that reduces the chances of being hospitalized 80%, right? How is that not
block cell?
You know? Block cell, eh? Well, that was the top of the area that they just shot through. Okay. Fed's Bullard 2. Whoa, hold on. 2 rate hikes are planned for next year. That's different. Hold on here. Something, this might be a bigger change than I realized. Well, the buyers are still coming in, but you can see that it has changed. Man, am I really? I'm really gonna have to take it there. Okay. Well, I'm not sure that there was much I could have done about that one. But Fed's Bullard is talking hawkish. I think that that's why we're coming back. I think I read that as just like the liquidity sloshing through. I think I could have been a little bit more on the ball there and gotten 20. So I kind of lost $10 from being lead-footed. Maybe yapping a little bit too much. Well, the liberal media doesn't like Joe Rogan, not because he says something conservative from time to time, or because maybe he said something about the pandemic that's not strictly true or scientific or something. The liberal media hates Joe Rogan because he's encouraging people to think for themselves. He gets people on the show that have different perspectives, that present information that you're not hearing anywhere else. And that present real facts that stand in the face of what you're typically told. Then maybe that doesn't prove their point. Maybe that doesn't prove their point, but you would still have to think for yourself. And you see the liberal media, they don't want you to think for. Haven't you seen these stories where they're literally telling people, like, the storyline is basically don't think for yourself? You seen these? It's freaking happening. That's why they don't like Joe Rogan. At which point you have to ask yourself, why are these people so opposed to people thinking for yourselves? Oh man, I hate it when sometimes the jigsaw profit loss window will poop out and I have to reopen it. But I wanted to see. Oh, that was just orders. Okay. It was 489. So that means I got 479. It might have been, I still wouldn't have gotten filled at 15. I'm ultra liberal, but other liberals hate me precisely because I think for myself. Yeah. There's been a change. There's been a change in my lifetime of liberals. The left. There's been a change in the left. We can't really call them liberals anymore. Because when I was a kid, when I was in high school, and I was growing up, and you asked people this, which party champions thinking for yourself and which party wants you to go along with the crowd? I think that without question, people would say that Democrats are the ones that encourage people to think for themselves and try new things, and conservatives are the ones that just want you to go along with the establishment. And that was definitely true from George Bush 1 all the way through to George Bush 2 and through most of Obama's years too. And then through Obama's years, and it was kind of brewing, and then as Donald Trump became president, it kind of like blew up, and now all of a sudden liberals were the ones that don't want you to think for yourself, that want you to just do what the news tells you to and stuff. And I have a really hard time sorting this out in my head, because I'm often not sure if it's like, did it change? Or did they have us fooled this whole time? Were the liberals always like this since the 70s, and they had just successfully fooled the public and the culture into thinking that they were that way? And I'm not sure I know. I'm not sure if I know. That is a little weird to me that I only got $10 out of that. So I think that maybe part of what happened here on this move was that it was limited to the futures, because Look at this. The Treasuries moved a solid 10 ticks or so, 20 ticks or so, and like you barely made $10-$20 over here. I think it's largely because conservatives have positioned themselves as liberal to speak about things like choice, and now the leftists are finding themselves on the opposite side of choice and don't know how to process it. Well, I don't know. So my theory is this. My theory is we want to think of ourselves or our political ideology as inherently in support of certain rights, and I think the reality is that both parties in the United States have become more about gaining power than anything else. And so liberals are just way more apt to, just say to hell with it and do whatever it is to get the power, whereas the Republicans really feel like they need cover. And so what you'll see with the liberals is whether or not they are pro-choice or sorry, not pro-choice, but pro freedom and rights and so forth, depends on the issue and what side they've come down on the issue, and whether that supports them gaining more power or not. So right now, they've aligned themselves with the power structures. And ergo, thinking for yourself hurts their power and they don't want you to do it. When you look at the root of what conservatives made into issues of choice, it's just rotten at the core. It's basically like their choice to do bad things like my house. Well, so there's like with the conservatives, there's a difference between what is pushed at government, So like the thing is I think the conservative argument right now is really that we've made some changes in our society that are foolish and need to be rolled back, or it's going to be detrimental to our society. I really think that's the larger conservative argument right now, and it's a three-pronged argument, right? It's always social issues, economic issues, and foreign policy. That's the three-legged stool of conservatism, right? But they believe that on a cultural level that there have been breaks in all three of those legs in the United States that harms the country overall, right? And the liberal approach to this is no, people should just be able to be themselves. But I don't think that that's a sustainable way of doing things. To be honest with you, like, it's just not the way that humans work, right? Humans have very strongly built, ingrained behaviors to try and control the behaviors of other people, because the behaviors of other people could put the entire group at risk. And I do think that we are coming into some places where the behaviors of certain people in the groups, it's not like they can't do their thing and left alone, but it's changed from, we just want to do our thing and be left alone to we want to be in the spotlight all of the time. And I feel that what has been happening is that because we're putting it in the spotlight all the time, and what kids learn from that, and how society changes, and the development of people a long time, is we're creating a weaker society. And I'm really concerned that these things are harmful to, for instance, being competitive with China, right? Because then it turns into like we can't, there's no right answer in math. We should focus more on, the plights of indigenous people rather than getting the math correct or something like that. And it's just like, no, guys, we can't have that kind of bullshit if we're going to compete with China. If we're going to compete with China, we need every child to be taught math and to be taught complicated and sophisticated math. And we need to find those kids that are good at that sort of a thing and get them into being engineers and to making new and great technological innovations. Otherwise, China's going to take a lead and they're going to be the ones that are in control of the world. And you're going to be very unhappy when that happens. I think that's a conservative argument. And I think that there's a lot. I think that there is a really big, they have a really good point. And I don't know how you correctly balance all of those things, right? Because the way that China's doing it is they're saying, you're being too effeminate on television, you need to go. That's probably not the way to do it, right? You think China is crumbling now and they have no power to lead anything? Could be. It could very well be the case that China is much weaker internally than any of us realize. And, we're all concerned about competition with China when the reality is that they're right on the verge of collapse and will happen any day now. I mean, that's what happened with the Soviet Union. But I kind of think when I look at communist systems, there's a lot of problems with a communist system, and in the long run, a communist system doesn't really work or run. But they can be internally stable for a very, very long time. It's just that, like, when they do collapse, they seem to just come down quickly, And I think that that's what happened in Russia was like, you had one, Chernobyl was kind of a part of it. It's like you run into one economic disaster and it falls apart. The coronavirus would be the sort of disaster that would destroy a communist regime. If the Chinese had the kind of outbreak that we've had in the United States, that maybe would be a problem for them, but they escaped it. It's not that you want to be authoritarian, but when choice is used to defend bad things, I still side with the good thing, and I guess that makes me anti-choice. There you go. Yeah. It's like, well, but that's your. I think that's where you and I have a hard time understanding the progressive left, right? They don't believe that things are good or bad. That's really what it comes down to, right? Who are you to say that that is a bad thing? That's just their culture. And in their mind, what matters more is equality of outcome. And so we need to support the people that have been disadvantaged and oppose the people that are advantaged. And ergo, it doesn't matter what their actions are. All that matters is that we are achieving that equality. And so it almost at that point turns into anything that's like evil, they'll go and turn and impulsively support. But it's because they don't really actually believe that in like inherent good and evil. Like they don't want you to make cartoons where there's a good guy and a bad guy. You notice they don't really do that anymore? Most cartoons don't have that truly evil bad guy that is just an evil guy and comes back every episode, and that they don't do that anymore, right? You see, evil is not an idea, it's a perspective. I think that there are things that are inherently evil. I think that truth is a self-existent thing in and of itself, and that good and evil are self-existent things, and that we as humans may not always be able to be discerning enough to determine what is good and evil, but that there are things that are good and evil. Relegator says rumors. Well, maybe a good segue back into something a little bit more market based, but the rumor is that Joe Biden interviewed Boehner, and it really seems to me like the far left has quietly organized a coup of the Federal Reserve, right? Like you notice that it's only the conservatives members of the Federal Reserve that are having bad stories run against them and stuff. They want Lael. Here's the thing, though. Lael, I don't think that Lael would be the progressive shoo-in that they want her to be. I have seen many times here since we've been doing this where Boehner was the one that was willing to say the thing that the others weren't, right? She thinks for herself, and she will run an independent Federal Reserve, and it may be dovish, but that is maybe probably appropriate for what things should be. But if they try and turn around and apply political pressure and try and get the Federal Reserve to do something that, like in support of one group of Americans at the expense of all other Americans to achieve equality, I don't think they should go along with it. So what's going to happen is the liberals want to try and take over the Federal Reserve, and they're going to do it, and they won't get anything from it. That's what I think will happen. Maybe I have too much faith in the Federal Reserve, but men wearing pearls are no longer shamed. Braves accept. Well, I don't know. The thing is like how you define morality. That's a really philosophical argument that is beyond my understanding of philosophy about morality without God. I know that it's there, but okay, so here's E-mini is going. Treasury is holding those spots, so maybe it could be the case that I just got scared out a little too early. Or really could have gotten $25 off of it. I really should have tried to take it. But that's okay. Mistakes were made. We'll live. $10 isn't bad. We might still have opportunities. Actually, it looks like maybe here they can give me the 20. Like if I had an order there at 71, would I get filled? The only thing that we should be able to point to as an arbitrator of what is true and false to base government moral policies on is science. I don't think I agree with that. I mean, I think that in the best case situation that yes, you would have science, but we also have to acknowledge that one, science is fallible and incomplete. Our understanding of science, especially when it comes to social issues, is very tenuous at best. You know what I mean? We could come in and we could say, like, what do you do when science comes in and says that it's harmful to society to have effeminate men on television? What if the science came out and said that? The Chinese have some reason to think that it's bad for society. Should that mean that we should ban certain people from being on television or certain behaviors from being on television? You know what I mean? But there's could also be things, I think, there are many cases where we as a society have figured things out over time and frankly even kind of evolved into them. Over generations and generations of people trying different things and passing on to their kids what works best. And we might not be able to prove that those are the most effective ways of doing things with our science today, but the only reason that we have the most effective way of doing it is because of trial and error. And so that's where I think that some deference should be shown to the tradition and the things that we are as a society today, you know? Because there's a lot of people out there that they just want to tear down anything that is, you know, tradition. That's all been set up by the patriarchy. We need to get rid of it. Right? When the reality is men and women have different hormones that tends to lead them to different behaviors, and that in order to run an effective household, you need to have some sort of separation of labor. And so people separate into the tasks that they find the most enjoyable and that they are good at. And that trying to tear that down is not help society, right? But how do we have all of the science to like conclusively prove that? How would you prove that? I don't know how you would prove that per se. There, you know, like we know that there's the hormonal differences, but how do you prove that like having a nuclear family and supporting the nuclear family is good for society? Well, we just know from the history, the trial and error, like that's where it came down to after millions of years of evolution. And of course, some of those things changed even recently in history. I don't know if like the nuclear family was necessarily always the most common thing throughout human history, but you know, it changed into that, especially in the 1950s, right? There's reasons for that. You got the Bitcoin ETF call options. You do? So I'm actually, I mean, I would think that being bullish on Bitcoin in the short term on that sort of a thing would be a great call. But I would have thought that Bitcoin, that options on that ETF would have been too expensive to really be making a whole lot from them. Now, here's another thing, though, as it pertains to trading, is that trading is a different beast, right? Because trading is competitive versus what we're talking about with society is cooperative. Oh, were they leaps? Oh, okay, that's different. That's different. Those you could make money on, but you might just lose everything. I find it a little odd. Mount Gox and their restitution program here. That's a lot of Bitcoin to potentially sell. You realize what's the number? 141,686 Bitcoin held by Mount Gox. That's a lot of Bitcoin. And that doesn't mean that they're going to sell all of it. But even if they sold a small portion of that off, it would have a really huge negative impact on the Bitcoin market, especially at the point that it is now, because the order book on the backside isn't very strong. Like there's a little bit, buying the dip, and then beyond that, there's just nothing. And the market is incredibly over leveraged. And so I think that there's a very high risk of Bitcoin crashing at the end of November or December. And that's just from flow that we know is going to come through, I don't know how much it's going to be, but it's going to come. And I just can't wrap my head around how everybody seems to be ignoring this. No, like I'm the only person talking about it that I'm seeing. People are interested, like people on TikTok are watching it and are interested in it. When it crashes, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to be like, I told you so. Listen, did anybody else on TikTok tell you about this? No, they didn't. It's the only person that knew, and it was a call that you could easy make. And I think that when people say that atheists are just as religious as they're religious, I think that they're talking about something different. Don't think that they're talking about how do they ascertain truth. S&P 500 selling here. Freedom from central banks is their mantra. Yeah, there's the whole thing. Bitcoin, it's about having a decentralized currency. I'm telling you guys, you don't want a decentralized currency. Okay? The world would be a worse place if the dollar collapsed and Bitcoin was the dominant method of transactions across the earth. The world would be a worse place. Once you realize that you're just completely at the mercy of the blockchain, then y'all will regret it. And you know what? I don't think that this current generation of Bitcoiners have really had to feel it, because even in the 2017 crash, it turns out that was a little bit of a fluke. Like, they should have been crashing and everything, but they were crashing because Mt. Gox was selling, and otherwise Tether would have continued printing and held it up. So because of Tether, the Bitcoin market hasn't had a true reckoning in, since Mt. Gox crashed. You notice? How many people do you know that are like cryptocurrency influencers or just really into cryptocurrencies that have been into it from before Mt. Gox? Not very many. There's not very many people like that, right? There's a reason why. When Mt. Gox crashed, it wasn't just a crash in the price of Bitcoin. It was a complete crash in the trust and belief in the whole Bitcoin system. And those people, they left and they never came back. Seth would make a great atheist if he was one, because Seth cares about evidence. Well, listen, here's where I get back to humans are really good at compartmentalizing and you do it naturally, and I say that your natural impression is no, to compartmentalize like that is bad. Right? You should be able to be 100% consistent and know the truth of all things across all disciplines and whatever, and know everything. But the reality of life is that we're not that sophisticated nor capable of having that understanding, and that's why we've developed the ability to compartmentalize. And so I say you roll with it. You use the compartmentalization in instances where it's beneficial to you, right? It's in trading. In trading, just having faith in something ain't going to help you. It ain't going to help you. It doesn't work. If you want to make money, I would use empirical evidence as the basis of your trading instead of following somebody or having faith in some voodoo idea about a support and resistance line that you've developed, okay? But when it comes to social matters, it comes to interacting with your community and to your own well-being and stuff, then there are situations where it's not beneficial for you to do that. Because what you're going to find is that if you try and apply that to every little social interaction that you have, that everybody's just going to think that you're autistic and not want to be around you, right? So what do? Compartmentalize. Use what works where it works. User reports indicate Robinhood is having problems since 9/41. I have faith in my broker managing, but no, I would. Oh, my, don't, never trust the broker. Oh, man. Well, they've just been stuck around this 23.5 area for quite some time, haven't they? It's a little chippy. Could you have made $50 off of this? Maybe you could have if you had really gotten from back here. I suppose that maybe I jumped on that trade later than I realized. Let's see here. What is that for Tesla? How much down is that for? That's up for Tesla, isn't it? $1.1%. Well, I mean, the broader market is down, so it's not a ton, but I suppose, one of the things was like my portfolio did really well yesterday. But that was because it was down from the week previously, we might just see a lot of rotation going on right now. I don't know. Like here, I think that the treasuries were really making a monster move here, and then it seems like that some things that the Fed speakers said, who was it, Bullard? Yeah, I think that some of the things that Bullard said kind of put the kibosh on the rally. Because you notice I was saying like, okay, maybe we could have another leg of the meta order. It probably should have already happened by now. I mean, maybe I'm going out on a limb here saying this, but I think that we would have already have gotten another move. Hmm. I'm typing something. Sorry, I'm typing something on Twitter here. Okay, now we are getting the move. So there was my 20. I'm not, it's a little gradual, so I'm not sure if this really is the start of another meta order or not. I kind of suspect that it is. It may be driven from the risk off sentiment coming off of the S&P 500 right now, though. Still, even if I had my order at 471, looks like I would be having a little bit of difficulty getting filled. There's just like the liquidity is a lot thicker here. So, even though I want to get excited for like another leg of this move, and I think it could definitely happen, I don't think that we should be expecting another slip like we had earlier in the day, right? The conditions for that aren't really there anymore. Natural gas falls 6% on course to the lowest closing price in 3 weeks. S&P 500, I think, right there. I'm going to try one. Oh, wait. That's not what I wanted at all. Oh, it's okay. And it's probably going to stop out. I accidentally canceled one of my take profit orders. That's why I was like, oh, crap. I forget what the first one's supposed to be. I think it was right there, but doesn't matter. Vegan barium. You can see. Oh, wait. What? Now my MES is all screwed up. Hold on. Let's flat because it did not exit that correctly. Okay. Well, it's good that was a misread anyways. Well, I saw some volume right there. I was wondering if it was going to go elastic, but okay. So that's, I would say, pretty aggressive order flow here. I like that one too. Flat. Nope. Oh, okay. So I was seeing all this stuff about Governor Chris Sununu declines the challenge Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire. That apparently makes it very difficult for the Republicans to retake the Senate. Okay. Oh, I see why. Okay. I was wondering why when I stopped out before that it didn't stop out quite right. It's because the targets are way up here. Okay. Now, the Treasuries are coming back there as the S&P 500 appears to have found some temporary floor. So that does kind of suggest to me that some of it is this risk-off sentiment. How bad is it? Should we be concerned? Well, yeah, we should be. Well, it's not below Friday's low. It's pretty dramatic, though. This does look like one where I buy the dip and made it out, but I'm not too happy with how I implemented that in the S&P 500. Any idea why it's falling? No clue, to be honest with you. That really was like quite a dramatic pullback. So you got to be wondering. I'm definitely wondering too, because that like seems like a news induced type of move, but I don't see any kind of move. I don't see any kind of news, rather. It could just be like leverage and stuff. So I might be able to sneak one in here. No, maybe not. That was a pretty weak new low. Treasury's still kind of backing off. Okay. Well, they're going to drag us down. You gotta puke it. Could be. I don't know. I don't feel like I've been so involved, have I? Okay, so Forex Live says that Tesla shares fall through $1,100 and the broader equities slip. Treasuries have kind of chilled out. So, like, I'm not taking this so seriously, but if I get another oversold condition, I'll try it, but we're not quite there yet. It's got some people in chat saying they're shorting Tesla. This could be Tesla falling apart here, right? Like, the conditions are ripe for Tesla, for a reckoning in Tesla, for sure. That wasn't a terrible pick. That wasn't really the oversold condition that I was saying I was going to wait for. Oh, sim orders! I'm letting them get me a little irresponsible here with them, huh? Darn. That was close. Treasuries are still coming back here. Fed says China's real estate troubles could spill over to the U.S. That could do it. Yeah, the treasuries are definitely coming back now. So I think I'm still okay with how I managed that. I mean, like, I'm really unhappy that I lost the $10 in profits, but I'm still glad that I took the profits where I did and not trying to wait and let it, work its way out, because clearly the situation that I was looking for initially was not happening. See, this is just too tight. This is a situation where it's probably a really bad idea to be taking these trades on a live account because it's too volatile. You're going to catch it eventually, but you're going to lose too many times trying to get it because it's too volatile. Bloop. Dollar is rising here as this happens. Gold is falling. Oh yeah, because the dollar is strong. Okay, so if I do this again, let's try something a little wider, huh? Okay. Oops. Those are all wrong. I only want... Oh, actually, they are correct. No, it's close. That kind of shows you have got like generally the right spot. Oh, no, wait, 73 we do want, right? Yeah, we do want. Okay, cool. Oh wait, did I only do Okay. I'm being really dumb because I had threes. Oh, I want that. So that one was kind of like a crazy sweep, but I don't think it was actually a sweep. I think I saw like a big order move, and then I think that was kind of more liquidity based. That's why I was willing to snatch it up off of that. Okay, now we're a little better. Okay. Hmm. I keep seeing like significant ticks down over here in the treasury, but then it doesn't. I look back and it's like, oh, it's still in the same place. Hmm. Okay, so they may be making a significant little attempt to reverse here. It's fighting them. How are we hanging in there, guys? Haven't been paying attention. Now you're all fine. Well, you kind of have to wonder though. Like, I don't know. I mean, this does look like it's going to be a buy the dip recovery, but it's kind of questionable how it even started. Some of our theories for how it started, maybe Tesla. Well, if it's Tesla, then I don't think you can feel too comfortable here, can you? We would need to trail it, right? Oh, okay. Was it 2019 when we had like that ugly bear market? Yes. We gotta be careful. Like, I think that some of these orders are like, like the liquidity seems to be handling it fine. It doesn't seem to be changing the sentiment um, in what we've seen in the price action. But like, that's some crazy sells. That's unusual. It's unusual. Apple CEO Cook, we're looking at Bitcoin with no plans. Bitcoin is down a little bit at the moment. Though we would never invest Apple Cash in cryptocurrencies, sure. Okay. Well, I don't know. Treasuries still don't seem too bothered. It was quite an aggressive dump. I mean, there was a sell order in that flow that was a little wild, right? Starting from the top, that was a 5-point sweep. You can continue to see the treasuries here, though, being a little, right? Things in the ES seem to be normalizing a little bit. And there's another tick down in the treasuries. And now note, there's not much spreading going on here. Still kind of slightly flattening, if anything. Flow still looks positive, but they're starting to struggle a little in the ES there. Hmm. It's kind of like right there at 73 is kind of like the middle point that they need to try and get ahead of for people to really turn more bullish. And it's like the market orders kind of start struggling there, and there's a little bit of iceberging. Yeah, okay, so that's iceberging right there. Okay, through it. Okay. I kind of wonder who comes out and just market sells like that. Maybe if you were in trouble, you know. So that's I'm kind of wondering, like, there's got to be something going on there that we just don't know about. I don't think that was news. Is it just like I've chosen to follow news sources that have a lot of stuff with cryptocurrency, or is just everything going nuts so crypto crazy this week? So all of a sudden, I feel like the push on social media has like moved to a new level. Hmm. I think I might be getting a little dehydrated here. And all the way back again, eh? The rotations were really nice in the treasury. Dude, on and the treasury, I really was thinking like it's going to go for everything. And then, I thought they were going to go for Friday's highs. And then, pulled back a little bit and I was like, no problem. But then I kind of looked at some headlines and I was like, so I feel like I was a little too flat footed on that one. Like I saw the spot where I could have gotten out at like $25, but I just didn't take it. You got NQ also, so did you take the short on it? I'm really curious when we get through all of this, what people decide is the cause for this sell-off, because that was pretty crazy aggressive with no real news that I can see. I mean, like normally there's like some sort of a situation that we're aware of and whatever. I guess the only one that I can see is Tesla. Is it all because of Tesla? If this is all because of Tesla, that's a little scary to me, right? If that's all because of Tesla, then this thing just ain't even getting started yet. Fed stability report could have been that too. You're right. We did mention that, didn't we? Okay, well, I finally got my fill. That one's not happening. I don't know. The Fed stability report is definitely a thing that happened, but I'm not sure I can sort out how you would get the kind of order flow that we're seeing here in the indexes from that. Because what we're seeing are large blocks being sold off all at once. Sorry about that, guys. Just randomly dropped the connection, but we came right back. Anyways, in 2019, I remember seeing that you'd get like this huge sweeping sell order, and it would just come at regular intervals. Like somebody was just really aggressively selling the market. What part did you miss? Lucas will remember what I'm talking about because he was that. I remember you being here on the stream with us. You remember that, like fall winter of 2019, would kind of turned bearish, and we would see these huge sweep orders, and they just keep hitting and hitting and hitting, and it was like, it's like crazy that they're selling this way and all that, right? And that's what we saw today. We saw two of those today. And so I kind of think about what kind of would be the cause for that kind of an order flow. That's somebody that they're desperate, I think. I think you're either desperate or you're really trying to maximize your impact. So to me, I need to dump Tesla shares right now. That would make sense. That would be a really good reason to see that kind of flow right now. But the Federal Reserve's, what did we call it? The stability report? Yeah, I don't think you sell like that off of that. So that's my best theory. A little. But I mean, they look like they're bouncing pretty good. That wouldn't surprise me in the least bit that we go back up to the open, right? Like that's where I'll probably just leave this on. Okay, Powell is speaking. The Fed is more concerned with the labor market gaps than with the headline data. That would be dovish. What a dovish thing for you to say, Mr. Powell. I took a lot of lots. There's just sim. I tried buying the dip a couple of times with foolish targets and was like, okay, let's try and like average into it the real market maker way. So I think the max that I ever had, yeah. Oh, actually, I had 12 on at the start. But it's 46 ticks favorable excursion. That's pretty bad. That's not bad, right? Now, over here in the Treasury, remember, we got out at 1.479, so they've just kind of been chilling between those spots. So it's still kind of like I could have gotten a slightly better exit, but deciding that the trade was done was the right thing. But I'm kind of feel like that the rates and the prices seem a little disconnected still. Why not just only one lot in ES? Oh, right, because when it becomes volatile like this, it just doesn't work, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take advantage of the liquidity, or not the liquidity, the extra volatility, to take on extra contracts at really small targets in order to let the larger trade run. So it's not really it's a noise trading strategy, right? It's a high risk noise trading strategy that I only do on sim. Maybe if I really had the money to lose, I could do it live, but radio host says he won't eat until Congress passes voting rights legislation. I guess you're gonna starve to death, friend. Because I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. So we're still hearing stuff on Bank of England, talking about a CBDC, saying it wouldn't happen until the later half of the decade. But we'll launch a consultation in 2022. You really gotta wonder, what are the cryptocurrencies gonna do when the central bank, when the dollar is released, the digital dollar? Well, they got a decent enough pullback there. I could maybe think about doing it again at 80 there, but no, probably not. Apple CEO Cook on the metaverse. AR is a core technology for Apple. Oh, NVIDIA posted something about a metaverse today, too. What was that? I missed it. Where did it go? So one of the things that I've been wondering is, does the metaverse become where they finally convince gamers to game in the cloud? Because they've been trying to push gamers to game in the cloud for a long time, right? Yeah, I have no clue what it does. I hope that the S&P 500 goes all the way back up to the open, but what I'm doing is a noise trading strategy, right? It's either gonna go, it's back to the open or bust for me. And I see no reason for me to take another trade in the Treasury. I think that they must have gone too far. I haven't really seen any kind of action in the Treasury space around a auction like I normally would see. Like, I'm expecting to see icebergs and this sort of a thing, and I'm just not seeing that. They're just chilling at 22. It seems like they got the move that they wanted. They stopped the trade short because of the Federal Reserve speakers, and they're just sitting here now. We might get more. It might happen that at the auction it really spikes up then, but otherwise I just don't see a reason to be in it. China's most traded iron ore futures contract in Dalian for January delivery tumbled over 6% to hit 528 yuan per ton, a new low since January of 2019. The most traded steel rebar contract in Shanghai fell 4.8%, 4.4%, and hot rolled coils fell 4.7%. Somebody was retweeting this saying not inflationary, but isn't that all kind of suggesting that it is inflationary? I'm so confused. Market doing mean reversion. If it folds back on itself, that's mean reversion, I guess. I really don't think it means anything. Now, it being at 50%, that might mean something. Buyers who appeared out of thin. Yeah, well, but that's the thing. Price action, or Captain Price. That's the thing, Vlad. They can just come out of nowhere. New orders. That's how it works. They just materialize. Somebody just feels bored and decides to click a button, and they can come. You know, it's sometimes you can predict them, but most of the time it's random, especially in the S&P 500 futures, right? Especially in the S&P 500 futures. I'm honestly starting to think Since I've been hitting really well in the treasury, wouldn't you say? Like I've made some bad calls, but like my win rate and everything else like that is really good, and the trades that I've got to go really tend to go right. And if anything, where I'm doing poorly is just kind of like on the edges, but I'm getting the big calls right a lot more often here, right? And I can see the flow a lot better too. And then you come over to the E-mini. It's just chaos. I really think that a lot of what we've got here in the futures space and some of the difficulty that we have is from everybody wanting to trade the S&P 500. Like maybe it would be different and the education and everything would be different if most people were trading treasuries instead of S&Ps. Because the S&Ps really are more random than other instruments. And I'm sure that there's some sort of inefficiency that we can arbitrage out of it, but I can't find it. And I think that if you are going to find it, that it's not just going to be in some price pattern. It's going to be something deeper than that, that like the effect that certain stocks have on them are outsized and that sort of a thing. Edges that we'd probably need more than just the futures data to pull out. While it still looks like it's in a good uptrend in the S&P 500, but it's not really. I think that 4690 is a place that we may have to revisit until before we see anything too interesting in the E-minis. Yeah, here you go. Bloomberg. Rob Arnott, one of the best known fundamental investors, says he debated putting 100,000 towards Bitcoin back in 2013, but passed, and that investment be worth 25. See, it's like they're working overtime today to get everybody FOMO. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but you know, we have definitely seen shady behavior around news and social media at market tops and market bottoms in Bitcoin, haven't we? And I see that, and even though I have no proof, it's totally a conspiracy theory. The thing that's going through my head is they're trying to pump it extra hard the next 2 weeks so that they can get out before Mt. Gox sells. I mean, we don't even know how much of it is going to sell. It could end up being an insignificant amount. It could end up being like a crazy amount, right? 141,000 Bitcoins that they could sell. They even sold 10% of that. That would, have a pretty sizable impact. You say that's obvious? I can't prove it, though. You can say it's obvious, but is it really that obvious if you can't prove it? You use Apple and Fink stocks as a lead. And you use the tick to find oversold and overbought. I have tried using the tick for oversold and overbought, and it wasn't bad. Like, it was definitely one in there where I wouldn't be fighting against it, but when I back tested it, it still came out break even. It seemed to me like it was a strong edge that had already been exploited. Just common sense. How can we know that it's organic versus they're trying to pump it? How do we know that there really is more positive social media mentions about Bitcoin today, or if it's just Seth being salty? How do you know? It's not common sense. That's wishful thinking, FDH, no offense. We want to think the cynical thing, but we can't prove it. When you start basing your whole worldview off of those kinds of decisions, you stand a high risk of getting yourself stuck in this bubble that is different from reality, and not where you just can't see things objectively. So we really have to go back to the I can't prove it. Ergo, I need to be kind of hands off about it. One thing for sure is only the new age traders are on in Bitcoin. I think that that's true. There is a definite generational divide. Here's the thing. The end game that I think most cryptocurrency traders are looking for right now is not possible to happen. So they think that we can all just get in long on Bitcoin, and then the institutional investors are going to come in and put their money in the ETFs, and we're all going to make money. No, sorry, but it doesn't work that way, man. Like, of course, if everybody just buys it and it stays in there forever, and nobody ever took profits on it, but then what's the point of that? It just gets silly when you start to game it out. At some point, somebody's going to have to sell, and there's a big enough seller that's going to sell it. It's going to make price decline, and we've seen it. We've seen sells more than strong enough to create price declines, and they've even started bear markets in cryptocurrency, only for Tether to come out and print a few $1 billion and save it. And if Tether wasn't around, there's no doubt in my mind that Bitcoin would probably still be under $20,000. So who are these other investors that are going to go in and get it? It's just where's the money going to come from? See, the problem is that this is where the fundamental disagreement that I have with the people in the Bitcoin space is that the only value that I see in it is the ability to make a transaction, and you can't actually use it for that anymore. So what value does Bitcoin have? It's at that point it's just a price impact tool. People buy into it, that has price impact, that moves it around. And if that's the only thing that you're based on, then at some point you're going to get a situation where people are forced to sell and the whole thing is going to unwind. The 90% reg pull, it's inevitable in that situation. It's inevitable. But the Bitcoiners, they don't believe that. They think that there's fundamental value in it, that there's a price that it can't go too low because of fundamental, but there is no fundamental reason. It's just people. It's just people buying it. The only reason it moves is because people are buying it. We're selling it. That's the only reason. I mean, that's the only reason that anything moves. But people in the Bitcoin space, they don't have like real reasons to buy or sell it. So they don't need it for their business. It doesn't. They just want to make. They're gambling. They just want to make money. In the Treasury, people have to come and buy it because like there's like regulations and stuff that basically you need them for collateral. Right? That's kind of what's been causing these short squeezes in the Treasuries and keeping the yields down. And what does that in Bitcoin? There's nothing. The instant you get a big enough bear market to cause people to lose confidence in it, it just all falls apart. If it was Bitcoin Cash and there was a lot of people using it, be different, right? Yeah, it's just like tulips. It's exactly like tulips, man. They're buying all of the homes in Utah. I don't know about that. To be honest, there's not very many Bitcoiners in Utah, and the ones that I've seen, they aren't really making money off of it, and they're kind of stupid. It's a foolish way of trading. Listen, if you don't have something to predict future order flow, then you're just gambling. That's really the long and short of it. I'm telling you, there was so many people back in the Mt. Gox days. You remember, I've been watching this thing since day one, okay? I should have mined some of it in the beginning, but I thought it was too hard. That was kind of foolish, but hey, I've been watching it from the beginning. So many people on the Mt. Gox thing, they thought, yeah, but why not make money in the short term from it? And they lost everything. Oh, wow. So the YouTube revenue is up 43% from the previous year. That is something I'll say. Well, it's about time for me to get going. I was saying I wanted to hold it until the open, but like I'm actually just like I just want to I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna go flat. So we recovered the losses that we made from the ES trades, but we didn't really make a whole lot. And here's the thing. If there was all of these people and they were doing a sophisticated analysis on it and all of that, that would be great. But none of them are doing it. They're buying freaking meme coins, man. Like, listen, making money's not hard, guys. It's not. I got to go here, but I'm going to leave you with this, okay? There are lots of ways to make money. Go to a code camp, become a software engineer, make $100,000 plus a year. Easy. You'll be comfortable. Too comfortable, okay? Making money is not the hard part. It's, are you doing something? Is the investment that you're making like actually contributing to society? I do not see how a meme coin that was based off of a meme coin that was based off of a meme coin in faux inu or whatever the heck it is that's taking off now. How does that benefit society? It doesn't. You're just trying to take money from the greater fools, essentially. And that's what's going on here. Like, if the market is not efficient, then the only thing that is there keeping the innovation going and really making an effective allocation of capital is us doing the right thing. Right? And there are some investments out there that you can make, and maybe you can make money on it, or if you're lucky, but it's just not the right thing to do, guys. Think about that. Because making money isn't the hard thing. I'll see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.